I also want to fine tune this. So the idea was I have errors in here, so I would like to have some alarming as well. Maybe even trending. Of course, when I use my setup now, I'm just setting it. It will not vary as much, but still, I would like to have that trend icon there. And if this would run for maybe the entire day, I would have a nice graph of my entire day. How can I define this? Well, it's very easy because in the DIS, Integration Studio, and the display editor, I have some quick hints to change my layout options. Now let's go to my setup again. I have display editor, and in here you can see each parameter has some icons in there. Now the main thing I wanted to do is make sure that this numeric value can be trended. Of course, I'm not going to trend text. There's no real sense, and you can't really measure text. It's a numeric value, so I can see the behavior in there. Alarming, same thing. Going to enable the alarming. Let's have a look on the other page. This is enabled as well. How come? Because it is the same parameter. Another component that is available is editing. I can change some key components in here as well. I can even add my tooltip and update it as well. Like this is an update in the tooltip. I have my name available as well that I can change. When I will change this, this will apply the change to my read and my writable component. So let's change this to amount of errors, and let's call this a maybe a health check. Nice, health check. I can use the same name, of course. I can indicate health check in here as well instead of amount of errors. I'm thinking also about the internal logic for a quick action. Now, why don't I want to put errors in here? Because errors is already used in my units. So as I mentioned, you should think before you develop, and I've been inventing the names on the spot as I'm showing you this. So maybe amount of errors isn't that great after all. Now for now, I'm just going to keep it amount of errors and health check as description, so you'll know there can be a difference as well. It just has to make sense for your development. So I've updated my name, I've updated my description, and I've made a change in my tooltip. So let's apply this change. I'm going to apply it, and you can see my name of my writable component has changed, and the name of my read component has changed. The description also updated, my tooltip also updated. So my definition is already changed. Now I can publish this again, and I will see that my data will be changed as well. So my param will not be there anymore. It will now be health check. Another thing that has updated, and I expect to be there, is the possibility to trend this information. I also expect it to be available in my alarm template. So where can I find this information? I have here alarm monitored true. I can add some default values in here as well. I can say normal. Well, it will be normal if it's 5 or lower. And I want to make this a critical high when it's 8 or higher. Let's use this as my default value. Of course, this is now an example. You have to make sure that this makes sense, it really makes sense for your purpose. Now let's go and publish this already. And again, switch to my DataMiner system so I can have a look on the effect. I can see that my health check has changed. It's still not initialized, but just before I updated it to number 5. So where has this gone? Well, this value is not stored in a database. It's not stored, it's not kept. So after startup, it will be empty again. So only during runtime, I have my data available. If I do want this to be there after a restart, I have to save it. I have to indicate this param, this readable component, that value, store it in my database so it's available after startup. So let's set a new value. I'm going to set 5, see what happens. Well, I don't have my alarm indication. Well, maybe I should set 8 then. Have a look what happens then. Well, still nothing. This is because we define to make it available in the alarm template. We are not defining it already, send out the alarm, create that in the system. No, it's available. Same for the trending. I don't have my trend icon here yet. It's not actively trending simply because I've said so in a definition. I've made it available to be trended, and I've made it available to be alarmed. So I'm going to go to my protocols and template, and I'm going to generate my alarm template. So I'm going to use my default name for now. Note that I am selecting my protocol. That version, can change it here, but it's an alarm template for this particular version. What do I see here? It's a list of parameters that I have made available with that alarm indication. So I'm going to say, yes, I would like to have really alarms here, and I can see my default values popping up as well. So I said 5 or lower as normal, and as soon as we hit 8, that's critical high. I'm going to apply this. Let me undock so you can see what I'm clicking. I'm going to apply this change, and it's going to ask me if I want to assign this to an element. So how does it know? It's linked to a specific version, and I have an element running on that version. I'm going to add this, yes, please apply this. And in the background, you can actually already see this is coloring up nicely in my critical high indication. When I open up my alarm console, I will see the same thing. I have my element, that's my element name. I have my parameter health check, and it has 8 errors. Now this is where you can see why we really need to think about the description. Otherwise it would say amount of errors, 8 errors. Maybe this is a bit too much errors. Now maybe amount of errors, 8 errors might make sense, but I don't like to see 2 times the same naming. So health check, error, 8 errors. Now let's change and do the same test and maybe put 4 in there, and everything is back to normal. When I open up my alarm console, my alarm is cleared out as well. Now, same thing for our trending. Let's use the hamburger menu this time. We can have a look on protocols and templates, and I can assign the trend template from here as well. I'm going to make a new trend template. Again, I'm going to keep the default name, and I have that one parameter I've made available. I'm going to select my average trending. I'm going to undock so you can see I have again the apply button available. I'm going to apply, and it's applied directly on my element. Why? Well, because from my element I've used the hamburger menu to assign a specific template for the element. And now I have my trend icon. Of course, when I click on it, it will not have any data because I just started it. But just to give you an idea, I will go to my trend graph and I can actually zoom in, zoom out across a broader range of time. Can again go to my details. This is the same as double clicking, and I have my tooltip because that was an item I've changed as well. This is an update in my tooltip.